There we go. I would like to introduce our featured speaker today, CEO Jesan Sorrells. He is out of Texas, and he has incredible information for us today. And he's going to be asking the question, what is in your leadership toolbox? Take it away, Jesan.
Excellent. Thank you, Isis, and welcome everybody to Evo Biz Devo today. I only have about 10 minutes to talk with you, so I'm going to make this very, very quick. As usual, if you have any questions for me, if you have any comments, feedback, or concerns, please email me, ceo@hsconsultingandtraining.com. My information is in the chat. So who am I? Well, I'm the CEO, founder. I'm a speaker, and I'm a father of four. HSCT Publishing is the core business. We do a lot of different things in a lot of different areas. We have a podcast, The Leadership Lessons from the Great Books. I would encourage you to go to the Evo Biz Devo group on Facebook and click on the link for our newest shorts episode to check that out. We have a book coming out at the end of April, 12 Rules for Leaders, the foundation for intentional leadership. And of course, we have great products from Leadership Toolbox to Leading Keys. Now, the question that I'm going to answer for you today is why leadership is different now than in the past. And of course, I'm going to give you an assertion about some things that you should put in your toolbox. So why is leadership different now than it was in the past? Well, technology is clearly an element that has pushed leadership to being in a different space. We're all in Zoom right here. We're all talking to each other virtually, and we all live in different parts of the country and in some cases, different parts of the world. Generational attitudinal shifts have changed, right? So the baby boomers in the 20th century had one view of work. They had one view of leadership. Gen Z has a different view. Whether we like that view or not, it is a different view. Work environment, team demands, leadership culture, all of this has changed. And of course, COVID-19, need I say more about that? Remote work, hybrid work, side hustles, and even now entrepreneurship. How many people that you know right now who are working a regular job in 2020 are now doing their own thing in 2022? And of course, the great resignation. So what does this all mean for us? Well, what it means is we have to meet the challenges of leadership by being intentional leaders. This means no more accidental leadership. This means no more not thinking outside the box, no more taking everything in stride, no more being just reactive. Instead, my challenge to you is to be responsive as a leader. It means that the penalty for failing in your family, particularly if you are a solopreneur as a leader, is higher than ever before. Because if you are leading in your family and you're leading in your workplace, guess what? They're the only example of leadership that is available immediately. They don't care about mayors, they don't care about governors, and they don't care about the president. They may talk about a sports celebrity and they may talk about an actor, but they really care about how you are leading. Now, why be an intentional leader? Well, you're going to want to be an intentional leader because there's nothing more rewarding and exhausting. There's nothing more rewarding than putting on your leadership hat and thinking about how you're going to lead, what you're going to say, and who you're going to impact every single day of your life that you get up to work as a solopreneur in your business. It will push you to the end of your leadership potential if you actually let it. If you actually don't put brakes on it, if you actually remove the governor or the speed limiter on your leadership and seek out new information and new experiences. And you know this as a solopreneur. And of course, and this is a big idea here, we are in a time of massive change in the hands of the most innocuous people imaginable. Look down at your own hands. I'm looking at all of you right now so I can tell if you're looking or not. Look down at your own hands. Those are the hands that are going to build the future. Not Joe Biden's hands, not Donald Trump's hands, not your mayor or governor's hands. It's going to be your hands. And it means that you need to be intentional about what you put in those hands and what tools you put in those hands. And of course, who you listen to and who you ignore. Now, when you think about leadership and when you think about the impacts of leadership on people, you have to set some goals, right? You have to have a purpose. You have to have a way forward, right? So what do you want to do? This is a challenge question for you today. What do you want to do with your leadership? What goal do you want to accomplish? If you're working by yourself at home, you're leading your clients. If you're working by yourself at home with clients and with a couple of other people, including virtual assistants all over the world, you're leading them as well. And of course, if you are working with virtual assistants and clients and a couple of people in person, guess what? You've got a team. What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish out of your leadership? What do you want to get during these revolutionary times from leadership? And of course, what do you want your followers, your team, and others to get from you? Do you have a strategy? Do you have a way forward? Being an intentional leader is about having a strategy. It's about actually thinking, turning your brain on rather than turning your brain off, and of course, taking action once you have a strategy. So, what are some practical ways for us to develop a strategy? What are some practical ways for us to establish these goals? Well, here's a few practical ways with the last few minutes that I have to speak to you about intentional leadership and, of course, growing in the practice of intentional leadership and self-awareness. Practical tip number one, pick a resource that you like, a podcast, a YouTube video lecture series, a blog, a book. I don't care what you pick. I am totally and completely agnostic. Of course, I would like it if you'd pick my podcast and take advantage of my products and read my book, but there's a lot of good things out there, right? Pick a resource that resonates with your personality and leadership style. If you don't know what that is, do an assessment. There's plenty of ones online that are for free, and find out what your leadership personality is and your leadership style is. And then delve into that resource deeply and narrowly rather than broadly and widely. Number two, practical tip number two, execute on the advice that the resource provides to solve your pressing leadership problem. Do something with the advice. Don't just sit on it. Don't just have it float around. Don't just go, hey, that was interesting. I don't really know what else to do with it. Do something. Don't just eat at the buffet table and then leave full. Let the advice, suggestions, and tips inform your actual practical leadership behavior. Be intentional. Practical tip number three, and this is perfect for you as solopreneurs because sometimes you need to talk to people who aren't your family and aren't your friends, who are agnostic about your success, but definitely want you to succeed. Practical tip number three, get a coach. Coaching is being so democratized right now, and there are services where you can get one for as little as $20 per session. You would invest in a therapist for your mental health and a financial advisor like ISIS for your money health. So why not a leadership coach for your leadership health? If you do these practical tips, pick a resource, execute on the advice, and of course, get a coach, you will succeed. You will become an intentional leader, and you will become more self-aware. And at the end of the day, you will become the intentional leader that everyone can follow: your clients, your assistants, and your team. My name is Jesan Sorrells. I'm the CEO of HSCT Publishing, home of Leadership Toolbox, Leading Keys, and of course, the author of the upcoming 12 Rules for Leaders, the foundation for intentional leadership. And that's all I have for you today.